the firelight reflected in the halfling's eyes, showing a spark of defiance that seemed too large for his small size. He adjusted his plum-coloured tunic, smoothed the fur of his cloak, and offered a bow that belonged in a southern regions, not a blood-stained clearing in the north. "Brannick Quicktoe," he said, his voice surprisingly calm, "traveller, raconteur, and, as you might have guessed, a man of exceptional fortitude." Xeona's gaze remained like cold iron. He noted the fine stitching of the halfling's clothes and the sack of even a single piece of trail dirt. "You're a long way from any soul, Brannick. The North does not care for fortitude. It consumes." Xeona's thumb traced the hilt of his simple short sword. "How are you still breathing? I have seen veterans of the border wars disappear into these wilderness before they even blinked an eye." Brannick puffed out his chest. "Bravery, Master Ranger. Pure, unadulterated pluck. Most folk run from the shadows. I simply walk through them." Xeona leaned forward, the scar on his receding brow tightening. "Bravery does not explain why these bandits' camps are empty. No blood, no struggle, just vanished. Did you see them? The men who once sat where you sit now?" The halfling's bravado wavered, if only for a heartbeat. He looked at the glowing embers. "I found the fires warm and the seats empty. I assumed they had simply moved on." Xeona knew the halfling folk were famous for their stout hearts, but this felt different, an ignorance that bordered on the supernatural. He did not trust, but the silence of the forest was becoming a weight he did not wish to carry alone. They spent the night in the hollow of the empty abandoned camp. Xeona did not sleep. He merely rested his eyes for some moments, listening to the impossible silence. The morning brought a frost wind that turned the world to glass. "There's a village 2 leagues south," Xeona said as they rose. "The cold will kill you before the wolves do if you insist on staying in the open." Brannick grinned. "Lead the way then. I've always found that tall folk make excellent windbreaks." They walked for hours through the unwelcome cold wind. The lack of animal life was a screaming void in Xeona's senses. Then the sound finally returned, the harsh, ragged breathing of men. 3 bandits stepped from the tree line. They were desperate souls, wrapped in mangy furs, their eyes wide with a frantic, starving hunger. They did not speak. They simply charged. Xeona's hand blurred to his side, drawing his short sword in a single fluid motion. He stepped into the path of the first man, his movements brutal and efficient. Steel bit through leather and bone. He parried a rusted axe with a disturbing clatter of metal, then drove his blade upward into the attacker's open throat. As he turned to face the last bandit, Xeona glanced toward where Brannick had been standing seconds ago. The halfling was gone. There was no sound of running, no rustle of snow, no cry of fear. The space beside Xeona was simply empty, as if Brannick Quicktoe had never existed, or vanished. The last bandit lunged. Xeona sidestepped the thrust, caught the man's wrist, and snapped it with a sickening pop. He finished the fight with a clean downward strike that silenced the bandit forever. Xeona stood among the fallen bandits, his breathing shallow, his blade dripping dark red onto the white drifts. He scanned the trees, his dark green eyes searching for the coward or the corpse. "Brannick!" A soft cough came from behind a massive pine 20 paces away. The halfling stepped out, looking perfectly untouched and unharmed. His plum tunic was still crisp, his hair was still neat. Xeeona approached him, his sword still drawn. "You did not run. I would have heard your steps. You did not hide. I would have seen you move." Brannick looked down at his chest. Tucked beneath his tunic was a small, blackened silver charm on a leather cord. It hummed with a low, discordant vibration that made Xeona's teeth ache. "It's a gift," Brannick whispered, his usual confidence replaced by a hollow tremor. "Or a curse. I don't truly know. It's an old magic, Master Ranger. It triggers only when death is close, truly imminent. It tears me out of the path of the blow and places me somewhere safer." Xeeona looked at the charm, then at the empty forest. "It moved you to safety before the bandits even reached us." "That's the trouble," Brannick said, his eyes darting to the shadows between the trees. "It saves me from the blade I see, but lately it has been triggering when I am all alone. It tears me away from nothing at all. It knows when I am about to die, Xeeona, but it never tells me what is about to kill me, and that's why I trusted you without a doubt. It would have saved me if you possessed any danger." Xeeona looked back at the empty bandit camps they had found. He realized then that the bandits hadn't left. They had been harvested. "We need to move," Xeeona said, his voice a low growl of steel. "Now."